welcome to Community Checkup with Delta Dental of Tennessee. Happy to sit alongside Missy Acosta as always. Always great to see you.
Thank you. Always a pleasure.
And we have a packed show today.
Yes, we have a lot of special guests that we get to interview, so excited about that. But you've had the opportunity to go out and visit some of our friends in the community and see some of the work that they're doing.
Yes.
Pinson Hospital Hospitality House being one of those.
Yes, the Hospitality House of Nashville recently celebrated its 50th anniversary. And let me tell you, in all the years that they've been doing what they're doing for not only families of patients receiving life-saving care here in the Nashville area, they're now starting to have patients stay there as well. So we will get a full rundown of not only the history of the Pinson Hospitality House, but also how they celebrated this 50 years and then how, if you need them, how that works. We also have Second Harvest with us today.
Yes, Second Harvest Food Bank. We've supported them for a number of years, and we provide toothbrushes for programs, so we'll get to share a little bit about that, but also some healthy snacks that we'll get to try.
There is a fun recipe that you are definitely going to want to stay here with us to learn about. And then last, we talk about corporate relationships with Second Harvest and how you can create that relationship and continue to help those in the community. Last but not least, we have Scott Hamilton with us talking about Scott Hamilton and Friends Holiday Spectacular and Scott Hamilton Cares.
Yes, Scott has been a great friend of Delta Dental's, had a great relationship with our former CEO, and now we're continuing that relationship. But Scott does, his foundation funds research that they're learning things about cancers that without him doing the fundraising and funding these research projects, we wouldn't have these answers. And I mean, it's amazing to see and finally hear people talk about cures for cancer.
You know, there is a quote that comes to me right now, and it is, you may not be able to change the world, but you can change the world for one person. And he has done that through this foundation and the money, how that has helped research, which is incredible.
Yes, and we'll get to hear his story about how he came about starting the foundation.
So stick with us. We have a full show for Community Checkup. We'll be right back.
At Delta Dental of Tennessee, we know our success begins and ends with providing superior quality service, and that includes serving those who need it most. This year, we're celebrating 25 years of giving back to the community we call home. Delta Dental, along with our Smile 180 Foundation, supports Tennessee's dental colleges and oral health education, children's hospitals, free and reduced cost dental clinics, and other like-minded charities. Here's to the next 25 plus years of ensuring healthy smiles.
Hi, I'm McKenna at the Nashville Omni Hotel. Come see us at 5 and 10.
Welcome back. Second Harvest is important and vital for so many families in our Tennessee area. In fact, their mission, if you're not familiar, is to provide food to people who are facing hunger or food shortages, and they do so much more than that. To kind of expand on that and to share a recipe with us, which I think is going to be a fun one for us, we have Amy Causey with us. She's the Senior Manager of Innovation and Programs. First off, thanks so much for being here.
Thank you for having me.
It is so nice to have you here with Community Checkup.
Yeah, you guys do so much great work in the community, and we are trying to nourish as many bodies as we can, and we know Delta Dental helps us out, so thank you.
Thank you.
That they do. I mean, you worked quite some time with Second Harvest, am I correct?
Yes, for several years we've worked with you guys. One is the toothbrushes. There are a lot of different organizations in the community that provide backpacks full of food for kids for the weekends. And a couple times a year we put toothbrushes in there, so thank you so much for getting those distributed out there. One of my favorite programs that we introduced several years ago was kind of helping to fund fresh food for healthy snacks for kids in after-school programs that are associated with Second Harvest Food Bank. So would you share with us about what that program is all about?
Yeah, so if it's okay with you, I'm actually going to talk about the umbrella of children's feeding, and so that's going to hit on, the Kids Cafe, backpack program, and then also the school pantry program. So with children's feeding, over 100,000 children across our service service area are food insecure, which means they don't know where their next meal is going to come from. And something that we also know is that, one, yes, nutrition is really important throughout any stage of life, but especially during childhood when you are developing and you're growing, you really want all the nutrients you need to thrive so that you can get older, you can do all the things that you want to do. And so our children's feeding program help introduce opportunity back in the lives of children. And so first, the backpack program, one of my favorites. And so Delta Dental will help us put toothbrushes in every single backpack. And it's for children that are struggling with food insecurity. You know, during school you get 2 meals a day, but what happens over the weekend? You don't get those 2 meals a day. So these backpacks are packed in Ziploc baggies. They've got a bunch of nutritious little snacks and meals and a toothbrush every now and then, and they will just go home with the kiddo and nourish the kiddo over the weekend. Then we have the Kids Cafe program, which is an after-school feeding program. And so for children that may be struggling with food insecurity or that are low income, this program will provide a nutritious snack, fresh food, a delicious meal, and then there will be nutrition education alongside with it, which is great. And then also the school pantry program, which, as the name implies, is within a school. So it's a pantry within a school. We've got 50 across our service area, so we've got 30 in Davidson County and 20 rural ones. And what's great about these is that not only does this program benefit the child, it benefits the family as well.
What are some of the fresh foods that you provide?
So it's so many. We've got different produce items, we've got milk, we've got cheese. It's based on the season and based on availability.
And if there's a school or a rural area that would like to reach out to maybe connect that may not have either a pantry or want to be a part of this program, can they do that?
They can. So we have a yearly application process. So schools are welcome to apply.
Very nice. And then do some of these come with like fun recipes like you're getting ready to share with us?
Yes, they do. And we plan to add more recipes in because I'm all about making eating as easy as possible. Healthy eating sometimes can be perceived as really hard, and especially when you're struggling with food insecurity, it can be even harder. But there are so many recipes out there that incorporate ingredients from food pantries and grocery stores that are low cost and taste great.
And we have something right here which I think kids would love.
Yes.
Peanut butter. Who doesn't
Yes.
love peanut butter?
Yes, exactly. So I'm gonna have you ladies assemble this, and it's
Go right
super
on.
easy. Okay, so first we are gonna start off with some Greek yogurt. Greek yogurt is a great source of protein and calcium for healthy bones. And also when your kiddo comes home after school, they're probably really hungry. And so this helps satiate them and is a great snack to start off with.
Okay.
So you can just dump it in the bowl. And we've got half a cup of Greek yogurt going in here. And all of these ingredients, I say measure with your heart. So there are no exact measurements, but for my people that like measurements, half a cup of Greek yogurt, about 2 tablespoons of peanut butter of your choice.
Oh, see, I would have just poured the Greek yogurt inside of this peanut butter.
That is very smart.
That's just me.
That is very smart. You know, when your peanut butter container gets empty, you can make like little lattes and smoothies and whatever inside of it. So it's great stuff.
There we go.
And then we're just gonna mix it up.
Okay.
The 2 spoons complicate
I'm sorry, I
things.
just got my spoon. It's all in your way.
That's okay.
And then to top it off, we're gonna pretend like you guys have mixed it all the way up.
Thoroughly.
You are gonna add some cinnamon. And if you like it a little sweeter, you can add some maple syrup or some honey. But the end product looks like this little guy right here. And you can pair it with fruit, crackers, really whatever. And how long did that take to make?
Not long at all.
Exactly.
Can I share just something that I do, Amy? Actually, I do
Yes.
make this at home regularly as a quick protein snack. I put it in the freezer.
Oh,
And then
smart.
it lasts, and it's almost like an ice cream when you put it in and let it in thaw a little bit. Just a little extra there.
Yeah.
And I have to say, this is one of the best tooth-friendly snacks, is an apple.
Yes.
I did not know that.
Because the crispness of the apple,
Uh-huh.
the sub-acid, it helps to, have you ever noticed when you eat a good crisp apple, it's almost like you've been to the dentist?
Yes!
It really does help scrub your teeth.
So cool.
Who knew? Missy.
very-
Missy did.
And also, one more thing, this is very low sugar. And what do teeth not like? Sugar. There we go. And teeth, calcium, great stuff.
Couldn't be any better.
Is there anything else that you would like to share before you leave us?
You know, we love our partnership with Delta Dental, and it's going so much beyond the toothbrushes. We are working with their clinics to provide disease management boxes, to serve patients that are struggling with food insecurity. And so this partnership is a great example of co-creation, and we are so grateful for all the work that you do.
And we appreciate what you guys do. We actually do employee outings at Second Harvest, and we'll have employees come. We have a lot of remote workers, so it's really exciting to see them come and want it because they don't know anybody. They're working at home, so it's a great time for all of us to come together. And just a few weeks ago, we packed toothbrushes into those kits that go out to the kiddos.
I love hearing that. Oh, absolutely beautiful. We're blessed as a state to have not only Delta Dental, but Second Harvest. So thank you so very much. Amy Kazi, the Senior Manager of Innovation and Programs there with Second Harvest.
Hi, I'm Sarah at the Omni Hotel. Come see us at Bar Line.
At Delta Dental of Tennessee, we know our success begins and ends with providing superior quality service, and that includes serving those who need it most. This year, we're celebrating 25 years of giving back to the community we call home. Delta Dental, along with our Smile 180 Foundation, supports Tennessee's dental colleges and oral health education, children's hospitals, free and reduced cost dental clinics, and other like-minded charities. Here's to the next 25 plus years of ensuring healthy smiles.
Welcome back. So we just learned about innovation and programs there at Second Harvest. Well, now we're going to talk about the importance of corporate relationships with Second Harvest, how that is created, how that is done, what it means to Second Harvest. To tell us all about that, joining Missy and I now, we have the manager, Erica Rivero. Erica, thanks for coming.
Thank you for having me. I love the relationship with Delta Dental, so I'm always happy to talk about it.
Oh, you know, if we had $1 for every time we heard that, I swear, we would make a lot.
And then we would have even more to give away.
Exactly. Well, talk to us about how special corporate relationships are when it comes to the nonprofit Second Harvest.
What's so exciting about Nashville is it really is one of those places where there are so many new companies always moving here, and everybody has to work somewhere. And so we're able to really engage employees and businesses in our mission in the fight against hunger.
What is that? How does the relationship work? Like when they join you as a partner or when they build that relationship with you, like what do they give? What do you ask of them?
Yeah, so there's 3 main ways to get involved, which is food, funds, and time. And so we can do food drives through organization and really show that the impact of donating food that you have extra to the folks that have little. And then funds, of course, we always rely on donations and monetary donations in order to continue our mission. We're able to provide 4 meals with every $1 given, and so it really is a huge impact. And then of course time. Last year alone, our volunteers represented about 29 full-time staff that we would have to hire if they didn't come in, and so it really is critical to our mission that we have volunteers in and out of the door.
Wow, that's incredible.
Well, and I think one of the coolest things when you volunteer there, your team lets everybody know, one, the impact you're going to make and what happens in the warehouse, but then at the end, you quantify everything so that we understand that even though we only put a couple hours of work into something, it made a big difference.
It did, and I looked back on my notes because I know you guys were in just a couple weeks ago, and so in just a couple hours, Delta Dental was able to provide over 735 of those backpacks that we talked about earlier. So that's 735 students that are getting nutrition from that Friday lunch to that Monday breakfast that otherwise wouldn't if we didn't have folks come in.
What do you hear from those volunteers when they come in and you share the impact that they're making? What do you hear from them, and then how often do you see them again?
Yeah, our retention rates are great. We're trying to up them even more. Of course, we have lofty goals, but it really is just incredible to see the impact that folks are able to make with just a small amount of their time. When folks all come together and combine their collective impact, I mean, the return on investment is huge. And so that was kind of all of our September campaign that Delta Dental is a part of, called Power of One, which is where we challenge people to change one behavior in their month to impact those facing hunger. And when everybody does that, we can see a huge collective force in the fight against hunger.
I know some of us looking at maybe our local communities and counties, we know kind of what it's like, what families are facing there. On a larger scale as far as Tennessee, what does that look like for those facing insecurities?
Yeah, so we cover 46 counties in Middle and West Tennessee, and in our service area we have about 410,000 people that are facing hunger. And so that means that we have people that don't know where their next meal is coming from. They're having to make really impossible decisions between rent and medications and then putting food on the plate. We have parents that are skipping meals in order to provide for their children. And so when you donate food, funds, and time, you are changing those people's lives.
When you talk, I mean, we're talking almost 500,000 people.
Yep.
Help us understand, though, what is that 1 in 10 people? Is it?
Yeah, so it's 1 in 8 people and then 1 in 6 children in our service area that, are facing that impossible choice. And those are people, for the most, primarily are, children, families, and seniors. Hunger does not discriminate, unfortunately. Everyone is so close to hunger in this economy. And so we're really there to provide that lifeline when folks are, in need.
I want this to hit home. She said 1 in 8. 1 in 8, and I'm looking in the room that we're sitting in right now. There's 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 of us. 7 of us, just takes one more, but one of us would be in that number. That is your neighbor. That is the person next to you at work. That could be your child's best friend. And I know for a lot of people it is prideful. They don't want people to know, but they turn to you to try to get what they need. So again, I just hats off to both of your company as Delta Dental and you as Second Harvest for that and what you do. How can we connect with you for those that may not be familiar with how to be like, hey, I want to be this partner, I want to have this corporate relationship with you. How do they do that?
Yeah, so you can go onto our website and then there should be a corporate partnership page on the Get Involved tab, and we would love to talk to you about what that looks like. Our biggest thing is just figuring out what you guys want as a company. Do you want more volunteer opportunities right in your local area? We talk a lot about Nashville, and we have a lot of folks that live here in Nashville. We are in all 46 counties, and so there are local opportunities there. Maybe it's a food drive, across, if you're a bank or a financial partner or a hospital system that maybe has locations in a lot of areas. We'd love to talk about food drives. Or maybe it's just that you have some monetary availability and you want to talk about how to make a huge difference in your community. We'd love to talk about all three.
Well, and if you want an opportunity to bring all your employees together, there's nothing better than volunteering at Second Harvest.
Yep, we run 3 shifts, Tuesday to Thursday, and then 2 shifts on Friday and Saturday. So we really do try to fit a number of schedules. And again, we can't do our work without you. Our volunteers are there building our program boxes. They are there sorting the donated food from our grocery partners, the food drive food. We are just relying on them in order to enact our mission.
Well, again, your mission is incredible. Thank you so very much. Thank you for giving us your time. Missy, is there any last points we want to hit before Erica leaves us?
I just want to encourage people to look at Second Harvest, regardless of where you're located. There is a food bank, there's a food pantry. You guys provide resources, you sell food to some of those other food banks to help them with the economies of scale because of how much you guys are actually doing.
Yeah, and then kind of a timely thing that just happened this weekend, we're also one of the Feeding America disaster response food banks. And so we've already been on calls today to talk about how to respond to what's happened in East Tennessee, in North Carolina, and in Florida. And I know we have truckloads already planned out, and so that's another thing. If you are just looking to get involved and figure out how to support those nationwide, your local food bank can also help with that.
Thank you so very much. Once again, Erica Rivero, the manager with corporate relationships at Second Harvest here for the Middle Tennessee area. We thank you again so much for what you do. Again, reach out to Second Harvest. We'll be right back.
At Delta Dental of Tennessee, we know our success begins and ends with providing superior quality service, and that includes serving those who need it most. This year, we're celebrating 25 years of giving back to the community we call home. Delta Dental, along with our Smile 180 Foundation, supports Tennessee's dental colleges and oral health education, children's hospitals, free and reduced cost dental clinics, and other like-minded charities. Here's to the next 25 plus years of ensuring healthy smiles.
He shoots, and he scores!
That's right, Bellman and Omni Hotel. Please come and see us.
Welcome back to Community Checkup. I am blessed to be sitting here inside of the C. Wright Pinson Hospitality House of Nashville. This is a sanctuary for families who have a family member going through a life-saving measure at one of our area hospitals. To share more about celebrating 50 years here of the number of families they've helped, we have the executive director of the hospitality house here. We have Angie Stiff with us. First off, Angie, thanks for sitting down with me or letting me sit down with you.
Oh, no, thank you, Stephanie. I greatly appreciate it. We're super excited to talk to you today and really just share our story, share about what we've done for 50 years here in Nashville.
It is remarkable, and you've spent since 2013 seeing the day-to-day operations here, meeting the people that are coming in that need this hospitality house. Start off by sharing what happened 50 years ago to make this right here today a reality.
So really, I always share with people we're a grassroots organization. So back in 1972, Ricky Beasley was in a terrible car accident here in Nashville, and there were 5 other teenagers in the car with him. One young lady was killed, which was just devastating for the community back in 1972. And so Ricky spent about 6 months in the hospital. And during his time in the hospital, his mother, Mickey Beasley, of course, was by his side caring for him and trying to nurture him back to health. And so during her time at the hospital, she started to open her eyes and look at other people around her. And what's really amazing about that story is that she lived here locally, but what she noticed and what really opened her eyes was there were other people coming from all around the state of Tennessee coming to Nashville for medical crisis. And so during her time in that 6 months, she noticed that people were sleeping on the floor, sleeping on the couch. They were doing laundry in the sinks in the restrooms. They were eating out of the vending machines. There was just no place really what I call for basic human needs to be met while she was in the hospital. So over a 2-year period, she enlisted her sister-in-law, Ann Crenson. And so it took the 2 years for these 2 ladies, and I love to hear them tell the story. They really went around and would talk to anyone that would listen to them. They started talking to the mayor and the governor and churches and the hospital staff. And so they just really started this crusade to talk about the needs of these families while they were in the hospital, that they needed a place to go to for respite. They needed a quiet place to go to meet, again, basic human needs, to have a home-cooked hot meal, to do laundry, to have a warm bed to sleep in and clean sheets, just to be able to rest and recover so that they could go back and care for their patient. So we opened our first night stay was July 22nd, 1974. Ronald McDonald did not come around till October of 1974. So that's a very remarkable story, you know, in itself to share, and how now there's over 500 hospitality houses around the country. And so during that time back in 1974, they started to receive phone calls from people all around the country saying, please share your story. How did you do this? How did you operate this home, and how did you get it started, and how did you get the funding, and all those things? So it is truly a remarkable story that we have.
So Angie, how do you keep operating? How are you funded?
Yeah, well, so we are a 501c3 nonprofit. We do not get any government funding, so we are completely funded by donations, which is also remarkable. So we do 3 fundraising events a year, and that covers about 1/3 of our budget. We do charge $35 a night to stay here by the guests that stay here, so that covers about 1/3 of our budget also. And then we do a lot of grant writing. So we have a director of development, and she does our grant writing and oversees our 3 fundraisers, and then 1/3 of our program comes from our program fees. Yep.
And you can't do this without a staff. You work with an incredible staff here. Do you want to share something about them?
Yeah, I would love to brag about my staff. So and I always share too. We're very efficiently run. I'm very, very proud of that. There's about 6 ladies that work here. So yes, we're a very small staff. We have about a 30,000 square foot building, and so we completely do A to Z in this building, everything from the cleaning, changing sheets, to the fundraising, to the marketing, the website. We have volunteers that do dinners. So I have 6 wonderful ladies families that I get the pleasure, honestly, and the blessing to work with. I always tell people I may be the executive director, but I do what they tell me to, because they are all very smart, intelligent, incredibly hardworking group of people that are very passionate. I will include about this mission and about what we do. There's something very magical about being here under this roof.
We are from South Florida. My son was waiting for a heart transplant in Fort Lauderdale, Florida, and for a year he's been on the list there. It was determined that he wasn't going to have his transplant there, and his doctor wanted him to come to Vanderbilt. And so after about 2 weeks from that, he was a candidate finally for a heart transplant. He went in on the 21st of July. They put him under. Heart was coming, it was on the way, and one of the last tests that they had for compatibility was a negative, and it probably would have been deadly for him to receive that heart. So they woke him up from the ICU, letting him know that that heart couldn't be put in him. And a week later, another heart became available. And that's the heart that he received on the 28th of July. But since then, he's been here. He got released to the hospitality house on the 13th of August. And he's been doing rehab. He's doing great. Lots of energy. Just doing what we need to do to try to get back home. But we've been so blessed. The third day we were here, there was an opening for us at the hospitality house, and we came over, and it was great because we came to Nashville knowing no one, and not even a doctor. So everyone here just kind of so friendly. From the staff was amazing, and especially Robin was the first person we met, and everyone here is just great, but she was our first touch point. And then the people that were staying here were just so friendly. They would cook things and include us, and other entities come in and bring meals once or twice a week here, so the burden of cooking is off. We have our own kitchen space, which is fantastic because I'm gluten-free and I really need to cook my own food. Eating out is not the best option for that. And we have a little refrigerator in our room we can keep some drinks in. There's the stoves, there's 3 stoves and 3 dishwashers, and big kitchen space for refrigerator and freezer. So it's been amazing, and just the camaraderie here. Vanderbilt runs a bus over here for the patients Monday through Friday, and it's from, I think, 7, I don't get up this early, but 7 or 6:30 in the morning till 8:30 at night. And so they will bring the families and the patients back and forth all that time. It's so helpful. And they also provide towels to the hospitality house, and everything's here. Linens are here, the washers and dryers are here, and soap is available. So really, there's not much you have to go out for. And we help each other. So when somebody doesn't have a car, or we're going to the grocery, we ask someone, do you need anything? So we try to lend a hand, back and forth between the families. And we've made such amazing friends that we continue to keep in contact with. And I didn't know this kind of thing existed. And I think a lot of people don't know it exists. And just to get the word out that there's such a place that is really helping families that couldn't do it otherwise. They'd probably be sleeping in their cars. And so I'm just very, very grateful for all the people here and the people who are helping make this place possible. It's fantastic.
So we take referrals from all the hospitals. So we work with the social workers and case managers in all the hospitals. They're very familiar with us. So if you have to live 50 miles outside of Nashville to stay with us, and you have to pass a criminal background check to stay with us, because this is community living. We have 30 rooms. So in order, what we do is we take a referral on our website from the social worker or case manager to stay with us. And then from there, Becky is our guest services coordinator, here, she will work that list, and it's basically first come, first serve. So the quicker you get on our waiting list, and we do have a waiting list of about 120 people every day, and so you will just, when we have a room that opens up, we will call you, and then you can check in.
Fantastic.
Yep.
Oh my gosh, I have to ask you, what do you hear from those that are staying here? What do you hear from them?
Oh, it's so heart-moving, honestly, and emotional. I wish everyone could come and hear the stories that we hear and the thankfulness, the humility, and the kindness. I love to tell the story that people walk through the front door literally as strangers. People come from all across the country. In fact, this year alone, we have already served 18 states within our country. And just this year alone in 2024 through August. And so when people walk through the doors, they walk in as strangers, but they leave friends. And so you hear so many stories of people being grateful. They're humbled by everyone's kindness. And again, it's just magical being part of this this home away from home, from all levels, and the guests that stay here. They could not make it, most of them could not make it or survive being in a medical crisis without having a wonderful place to stay. And we all know the price of hotels in Nashville have skyrocketed in my 11 years here. And so because of that, they need a nice, safe, comfortable place to stay. And we're basically 1 mile. We sit in the center of all three of your major hospital systems. And they can even walk if they needed to. So it's a very comfortable, as you see, home and environment, and very safe. So they're very appreciative and very grateful.
Let's talk about celebrating 50 years now. How did you celebrate 50 years of serving those who need it here in the area?
Well, actually, since I've been here 11 years, I've been planning this for about 5 years.
Have you
honestly.
really?
Yes. Yes, we have. And so just all these ideas. So one of the things, when you think about being in a home away from home, and anytime you go through any type of crisis, what's really the center for all backgrounds and all walks of life is food, right? And so food is the crutch really of even the kitchen is our center here. And so we actually produced a cookbook. So we have a wonderful cookbook that we did for our 50th anniversary. Yes, so we're very proud of that, and it took us a very long time to do that. And the recipes are from donors and board members and guests that have stayed here through the years, and volunteers. And so we did a cookbook. We did a 50th anniversary video, which really encompassed 50 years of history, and with our co-founders, and Dr. Wright Pinson is in it, and just we interviewed our guest, and so it's very moving, wonderful video that we produced. And then we had a huge party in April that was our 50th anniversary gala, and it was a huge success, and we even had fireworks. It was just fantastic. And so we've done and on our actual birthday, July 22nd, we had a birthday party here. And so that was also fantastic. And then today we are celebrating also our 50th anniversary. We are having an open house today where we've invited all the hospital staff to come in, our board of directors, we have a young professional board, and our foundations and grants. So we anticipate about 200 people or so to walk through the doors today. We're serving lunch, we're doing tours, and we hope to just celebrate today a remarkable milestone for any nonprofit, actually, to celebrate 50 years. But the fact that we started really as a grassroots organization, and we've grown into this beautiful, very successful nonprofit is just amazing. And so we want to celebrate that today. And we'll continue to do things throughout the year.
Is any final thoughts from you, Angie, before we finish out?
Yeah, I always want to take the opportunity to invite your viewers or anyone interested to contact me. I will give you my direct email. It's stiff, STIFF, at hhhnashville.org. To please email me if you're at all interested in volunteering, if you're interested in just helping out with our guests that are here, anything that you may be interested in, please contact me. I always invite people to come for a tour. This is a remarkable place. We're very proud of this place, and we're very proud of the work that we do in serving these families in great need. So many wonderful stories I could share also with the families that we serve. It's just amazing.
Can you share just one?
I will try. I have two actually that come to mind immediately. One very amazing story. We, about a year ago, we had a young lady staying here with us who gave birth to a baby that weighed 17 ounces. 17 ounces, let that sink in. That's about the weight of a puppy. And, you know, very concerned, obviously. The baby was in the hospital in the NICU for about 4 months. And this young lady, 23 years old, from a very small town in Tennessee, came here by herself and stayed with us. She was scared to death, did not know anyone when she stayed here, but she needed a place to stay because she wanted to be close to her baby. And so she again stayed with us for 4 months, but what came out of that was two very successful stories. The baby did beautifully well, very successful. In fact, they come back to see us this day. She brings the baby. She's about 9 months old now. We love her, love the mom, and the mom, when she left, wrote a letter on her Facebook page, "Dear HHH," it's going to make me cry, about how she walked through the doors and this place was a stranger to her, but she left with family. And so many people pitched in to help her with meals and just help her with everything, and really to cope with having a newborn baby in the NICU. And again, they were not family, they were strangers to her, and how the human spirit comes alive in these walls and under this roof, and how they were able to really help her cope with that situation. Another fascinating story, just, you know, again, very meaningful for this lady. And then another fascinating story, we have actually a family with us right now, and a young man in his late 30s needed a heart transplant in South Florida. And we have a local hospital that actually flew down. I will give kudos to Vanderbilt Medical Center, who flew down to Florida and picked this young man up and brought him back to Vanderbilt, and within a week he got a new heart.
Oh, wow.
So his parents have been staying here with us for about 2 months now, and he now has checked out of the hospital. He is now here with us staying, and so he will be here probably another 6 weeks or so, just for all of his post-treatment and following up. And every time I see him, he just looks better and better, and he's doing fantastic. So two very wonderful personal stories, and very vast, from a baby to a young man in his late 30s getting a heart transplant. So just two great stories to share with families that are very appreciative, very grateful to be here. I just get the opportunity and the blessing to share these stories with people like you and your viewers. So thank you very much, Stefanie.
Thank you so much. God bless this place. God bless the C. Wright Pinson Hospitality House of Nashville, serving all the hospitals here in our area. And as Angie mentioned, reach out to her. If you'd like to learn more about this hospitality house, reach out and do that. If you would like to volunteer, make a donation, this is a great spot to do
We're
it.
a lot of fun too.
You seem to be. We do want to have to laugh a little bit. We both walked in, and when she walked in, looked at each other. We're like, oh, twinning today a little bit with our green.
It's the exact same color.
Exact same color.
Yes, I love it.
Such a pleasure to meet you. And again, thank you for what you do. The Executive Director, Angie Stiff, here at the C. Wright Pinson Hospitality House of Nashville. Stick with us here at Community Checkup. We'll be right back.
Hi, I'm Joseph Burgoyne, Chef Tornado of the Omni Nashville Hotel. Come see us at Kitchen Notes.
At Delta Dental of Tennessee, we know our success begins and ends with providing superior quality service, and that includes serving those who need it most. This year, we're celebrating 25 years of giving back to the community we call home. Delta Dental, along with our Smile 180 Foundation, supports Tennessee's dental colleges and oral health education, children's hospitals, free and reduced cost dental clinics, and other like-minded charities. Here's to the next 25 plus years of ensuring healthy smiles.
He shoots, and he scores!
Welcome back to Community Checkup. We have a special guest for this particular part of our show today, and it is such a joy to have him. He is someone that is getting ready to celebrate a 40th anniversary of winning a gold medal. It is someone that you know, and he's done so many incredible things as far as cancer research.
Yes, absolutely. And I have the privilege of being able to introduce all of you to Mr. Scott Hamilton. So Scott, thank you so much for being here.
Thank you.
Great to be here. It's so fun. I love this place. This is my, like this, I'm not never allowed to say where we are, but this is my favorite restaurant to go breakfast, lunch. Yeah, it's Kitchen Notes at the Omni. If I go, hey, we need to meet downtown for, meet for Kitchen Notes. It's so good. And I can tell you how many memorable times I've had here in the Omni Hotel and especially at Kitchen Notes.
Well, my first time here at Kitchen Notes was for a luncheon.
Yes, the host committee luncheon, yes, yeah.
With Scott Hamilton and friends. I was late to the meeting,
Props.
so.
Props. If this looks anything like me, we'll have it retouched. Oh, they did already, never mind. Yeah.
And Scott, I don't know if you remember that very first year, I was late to the meeting and ended up, there was only one seat left at the whole table, and I ended up sitting next to you.
Nobody wanted to sit next to me.
Why?
Yeah. I don't know.
I think we were all intimidated.
Yeah, I am very physically intimidating. 5 foot nothing, and yeah. But yeah, it's so great to, Delta Dental has been so good to us. I mean, through, started with Phil Wank, who was a little late to our first meeting, which he's never late, so I always kind of rub that in, and he's just become just a dear friend. Beyond all the philanthropy, beyond Delta Dental, beyond everything else. Phil has become one of my favorite people in this town, as have you.
Thank you.
And it's just remarkable having toured the headquarters and getting to meet everybody there and just seeing the remarkable work you do and the fact that of course the identity of Delta Dental is to make sure that people are insured and they get the care they need, but the philanthropy that Delta Dental does in this town I've never known of any other company to do that level of engagement with their people, and it's just remarkable. And I think that's the kind of the secret sauce to your success is that you pour into the community and you really just make everybody feel better about living in Nashville and about pouring their time and treasures into the different charities that are in this town that are doing phenomenal work. So thank you.
And speaking of what charities do in this town, what Scott Hamilton Cares does is simply amazing. Will you share with us the story about how you started Cares?
Well, I started, like so many people, I lost a loved one to cancer, and it was my mom who I worshipped. She was like the center of my universe, and she was diagnosed with a form of cancer called metastatic melanoma. It showed up in her breast, and they threw everything they could at it, and she suffered for 2 years and died. And it shattered my life, so I became a fundraiser. And then 20 years, 2 months shy of 20 years of losing my mom, I get that diagnosis. And the fear was extraordinary because all I saw was what she went through was, just desperation and fear and suffering and diminishment of all those things. And when I was given the final diagnosis, I had stage 3 germ cell testicular cancer. And I would joke that I didn't want cancer there, anywhere but there, right? And they said, no, if you had to pick a cancer, like who'd pick a cancer? If you had to pick one, this is a good one because it's 90% treatable. And it struck me all at once that my mom didn't have a chance, and yet I'm given 90% because of research. Mm-hmm. Okay, note to self. And then I went through 4 months of chemotherapy, lost every hair on my body. I was losing my hair anyway, so I don't really care. But there's something about that whole thing of loss of identity, loss of control, loss, all the things that go through with that first initial chemotherapy thing, and I'm going note to self. Then I went on Dr. Google and I tried to figure out what I was going through, and Dr. Google is not the best place to go, I'm going to say. But I realized that my doctor, I said, how sick am I going to get with chemo? And he said, moderate to severe. And I said, what does that look like? And he said, moderate to severe. And I said, note to self. So then I went, in Dr. Google, all I found was medical journal papers with 12-syllable words. And I'm thinking, this isn't fair. I'm too dumb to be sick. This is wrong. And so I was very motivated to get through chemo, a 38 staple surgery, which was, I call it filet oscat. And then I wanted to be back on tour the next year. And I knew that I had a lot of work to do in order to make that happen. And in that, I did a comeback show. And we budgeted in a large sum of money to give back to the Cleveland Clinic for saving my life. And I was really honored to present them with a check for $100,000 to just as a thank you. And they said, well, I think there are things you want to do here, right? And I go, if I had the opportunity, there's a lot of things I want to do to help the next patient. And they said, well, let's get to work. So we collaborated and came up with the Cancer Alliance for Research, Education, and Survivorship. And in that, the very first thing we did was we created a mentorship program that pairs newly diagnosed patients with survivors. I didn't have that. I wanted to quit after round 3 because I thought I was failing. And little did I know it's kind of normal. And so the more you're able to have a life coach and sort of a role model to work with, it changes the entire journey. The second thing I did was I was the organ grinder's monkey for 5 years to build a website called chemocare.com. And I'm not going to get this out, but I did a speech recently for oncology nurses in this area. And I was talking about chemocare. I go, anybody use chemocare? And with puzzled looks, 100% of them raised their hands. And all it is everything you need to know about chemotherapy, how it's administered, every drug is listed and it described, and all the side effects that are associated with those drugs are listed and described in 8th grade English and Spanish. So now everybody has a resource to kind of buy into their treatment and understand it. And with that, it's not a step in the dark, because I felt like every step I took was in the dark. And so once we accomplished those things, we launched from the Cleveland Clinic because I wanted to raise more money for research. And there's very strict guidelines of how you can raise money when you're a part of a medical institution. And so I said, can I take the brand and go public? And the CEO of the Cleveland Clinic said, you've done a lot for us. Go. And so we needed to figure out who we were as a foundation now that was going to be a research foundation. And so we just said we're going to fund the future of cancer treatment options, which is immunotherapy. It's an immune response to cancer. And it's remarkable that 3 years after we put that stake in the ground, the first immunotherapy drug hit the market. And I was like, we even meet researchers now saying, how did you know? And I was like, I'm very smart. But it's amazing how the immunotherapy world has just exploded. And we know that's the promise of next. And we know it now. It's been proven. So we just keep doing things. And, on the 40th anniversary night of my Olympic gold medal, I was with the silver medalist Brian Orser and the bronze medalist Joseph Obchik. We hadn't seen each other together, the 3 of us, in 20 years, and so it was time to reunite. And we had so much fun together, just laughing and reminiscing. And it's odd that a podium is that close, because a lot of it's this, right? But no, we're really good friends. And on that night, I announced that the metastatic melanoma project that we funded 3 years ago is in clinical trial. That's the stuff, right? So 47 years after I lose my mom, there's hope that a 18-year-old boy isn't going to have to bury her, his mom, So there's hope, and with hope comes renewed passion and energy, and we're going after big, bad, nasty bullies. One of them is glioblastoma multiforme. We found out so much about this cancer, and we're learning and growing. And part of understanding how to defeat an enemy is understanding how they work. And we're learning more and more through our research how it works. And it was hard to find a researcher because it's such a difficult, almost a hopeless cancer. And now, the first thing we learned is there's no genetic link. So with many women with breast cancer or with colorectal cancers, there's a genetic link that they found that allows for, if a family member has it, be aware, be vigilant. With glio, there's none. So there's a lot of people sleeping better at night. But it was creating that momentum of research. Now more scientists are coming on board and being a part of what we're doing, and they want to win. And they see glioblastoma now as a battle that can be won. And
Which
so
is
we're
amazing.
It's miraculous.
My mom died from glioblastoma.
Oh, I'm so sorry.
And you have been doing a race through Mississippi and Tennessee for a few years.
It's a ride. We had a glio patient come to us named Scott Williams, and he said, I just had my first resection. Like, notice he didn't say I had my first resection, because they know it's coming back, right? And I want to raise money for you. And we said, what do you want to do? And he goes, I've always had a childhood dream of riding the length of the Natchez Trace from Natchez, Mississippi to Nashville, Tennessee. It's 444 miles. And he goes, I think I can do that ride and raise a lot of money for research, for glio. And through his Facebook networks and everything, he was sort of like this epicenter for information sharing, and this glio community that he created was phenomenal. And so we reached out to our cycling expert, Johnny Burrell, and we said, this guy with brain cancer wants to ride the Natchez Trace to raise money for us. Is that even a thing? And he said, he'll never make it without me. I love that story. So took him 9 days, and they averaged about 50 miles a day, because Scott wasn't a cyclist. He liked cycling, but he wasn't a cyclist. And it's 444 miles. And so I rode in the last 4 miles with them, and I don't think I've ever been that inspired in my life. And so as we got to the Natchez, as we got to the end of the Natchez Trace Parkway, I said, I have to do this ride next year. And so I did it the next year in 5 days. Let's just say my rear end will never be the same, because I'm not a cyclist. But we made it to the finish line, and it was remarkable that, just the outpouring of love and affection and support that we received, and how we were able to hit the finish line with my children riding with me, which was really fun. And we were able to raise money from 38 states and 5 countries participated in that. And we've been trying to figure out ways of scaling and growing that project, and it's so beautiful that I hope everybody has an opportunity to do that ride someday, and I may consider doing it again. A little healing, it's still only been 2 years, so maybe healing and lots of therapy, and then we'll get back to it.
You talk about hope, and I think one of the greatest symbols of that hope is your logo for Scott Hamilton.
Yeah, we have an upside down cancer ribbon. Like, here it is. Here's our logo right here. And you can see our cancer ribbon is upside down because I spent most of my professional career upside down doing backflips. But we really want to turn cancer upside down. And in that, we mean that we want to change it from fear and hopelessness to just the unshakable faith and understanding that we have now found a way to cure your cancer. And it's almost everywhere. The first drug that came out was CAR T for lymphoma. And I heard from the CEO of Moffitt Cancer Center in Tampa. He said, using the CAR T platform, he goes, I am 100% confident that we will cure multiple myeloma in 10 years. I've never heard a research scientist say cure before. They always say things like improve outcomes, lengthen the patient's life, lengthen the quality of a patient's life, but never cure. So now, I'm even more stoked and jazzed than ever, because the research community is now saying words like cure instead of, what is it? Possible. No, not possible. It's more like remission, which means that your cancer is hiding behind a bush somewhere, just waiting to strike at any given moment. It's like, let's just call that 5-year remission period a period of vigilance and not call it remission anymore, because it scares me to call it remission. Now we can talk about cure, and I'm excited to really just be sharing that.
And cure is such an incredible word, but for those who may not be cured, you are definitely lengthening their lives with immunotherapy. And I get to say that personally, because thanks to immunotherapy, my mom was given a little more time before she passed from cancer. So I'm incredibly thankful for the work that has been done and all that you've put into it in your lifetime.
Well, thank you. It's amazing that I was at a cancer fundraiser one time called Buying Time. And it was the gentleman, he was a football player for Notre Dame, and his brother was too, and they do this fundraiser in his name every year. He was diagnosed with an incurable cancer, and he said, can you slow it down? And they said, we can slow it down, but we can't stop it. And he goes, just give me as much time as you can. And as a sort of a talisman of that night, oh, by the way, he was given 18 months to live, and he lived 5 years. And then in hospice, he basically shared that he was so grateful for the cancer diagnosis because he never would have lived those 5 years. He would have coasted those 5 years. So, but I got this beautiful hourglass. And it just reminds me that a grain is a grain, a grain is a day, a grain is an hour, whatever. But it's like all we really want, knowing that we're very vulnerable, fragile, susceptible, resilient, temporary. Like we're here for our time. So all we really want is more sand, you know? And we don't want things to disrupt our sand. We don't want anything to take away our sand. And so, you know, just being introduced to cancer through my mom and then through survivorship and being able to try to impact the next person with this disease. And we're just working really hard to put on events and to bring people together to celebrate life and to create hope and great optimism that the science is here, the funding is here. If we can close the gap, oh my goodness, we'll change cancer forever.
Let's talk about changing that gap.
Yes.
So you do have an event coming up here. It's one of my favorite events every year.
Yep. It is, it's, we do a live music and skating show, and it is beyond sensory overload. It's really wild to mix those two genres of, one is movement, and the other one is music, to create a marriage of those two live. It's so overwhelmingly exciting that I've seen these sort of grizzled veterans in the entertainment community become 5-year-old kids again. It's so fun. It's just magic. And so we take over Bridgestone Arena and we turn it into a theater. The boards are, they're gone. Glass is gone. I mean, the boards are still there, but we cover them up. They disappear. But we take all the seats down to the ice and we create this, Olympic champion skaters skating to what Nashville does better than anybody else, and that's music. And we're getting our musicians together now. It's been challenging this year because everybody's on tour. Like, really? Come on, you're supposed to take my time off so that you can come and participate in this. But we've had so many iconic, amazing musicians over the years. And this year, CeCe Winans is coming back, and we have Stephen Curtis Chapman. We have other people I'm waiting on to clear. I've got some invitations out that are rather large, and I'm hopeful and optimistic that we'll bring them in. And like every year, we do a spectacular show, and everybody walks out just really happy that they were there, and we celebrate life, and we honor those that are going through their battles, and we honor those that have lost their battles, but in the hope that in the future, no one will lose their battle. No one.
And I know we all want to help eradicate cancer.
Yes. Scott, congratulations, 40 years since you won your award. And congratulations, Tennessee Sports Hall of Fame inductee this year. Very excited about that. Folks, you can join Scott Hamilton and friends on November 24th. It's going to be at Bridgestone Arena. Please go to scottcares.com for more information.
.org?
.org, no. scottcares.org. You can get information and also information on sponsorships, as well as just tickets to attend. It's a great show, and hope you'll be there with us.
Yes, we'll see you there.
Thank you so much for joining us for this episode. I hope you've learned a little bit about some of the things going on in our community.
And we had a number of websites for you from the beginning to the show until now. So again, check out Scott Hamilton and his nonprofit, Scott Hamilton Cares Foundation, Second Harvest Food Bank as well. And don't forget to also check out the Hospitality House of Nashville. As always, thanks for joining us here at Community Checkup. Enjoy the rest of your month, and we'll see you back here in November.